Okay, great. So, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, school children, everyone here, thank you so much for joining us for our IPI MENA's Youth and Environment webinar. I'd like to introduce our key speaker, Sarah Hanoum, author of the Tom Alien series, whose most recent book, Tom Alien and the Plastic Mess, addresses the critical issues of plastic, environmental degradation, and the need to involve youth and children in particular. I'd also like to introduce school children from the British School of Bahrain, the International College of Beirut in Lebanon, and the American School of Dubai in the UAE. Thank you all for joining today and for taking the time. And with that, I'll pass to you, Rajiv.
Good morning, Sabah al-Khair. Bonjour. Thank you, Dalya. Dalya is the IPI policy analyst. Thank her and Eliza Shea, who have both of them worked hard to get this event arranged. I would like to thank, of course, all of you for being part of the International Peace Institute Middle East and North Africa event on this very important topic of environment and youth, particularly in the lead up to the UN 26th Climate Change Conference, better known as COP26, which will be held next week in Glasgow, Scotland. I would also like to express my encouragement and gratitude to our partner, our dear Sarah Ghanoum, author of the Tom Alien series, for addressing her latest book, Tom Alien and the Plastic Mess, towards this crucial issue of plastic, environment degradation, and the need to involve youth and children in particular. With the onset of the global pandemic, the environment has greatly suffered, particularly in regards to plastic waste, which was exacerbated by a flood of single-use personal protective equipment, takeaway cups, and containers. This was alongside a slew of COVID-19 related budget cuts, slashing recycling and waste recovery capacity. As you all know, world leaders have been and are still debating policies, and regional organizations are calling for action, but what we have witnessed is the extraordinary case of youth rising to the connection, youth rising to occasion as the vanguards of climate movements. No wonder you are the leaders of tomorrow and even today. Almost 400 young people aged between 15 and 29 from 186 countries met in Milan a few weeks ago in September during the Youth for Climate Driving Ambitions Conference to address the main urgencies and priorities of climate action. Young people are engaging with climate and biodiversity science and policy in a way that previous generations haven't. So thank you very much. I said youth have the keys to the future. They have understood that without action, the futures will be increasingly dominated by the heat waves, storms, floods, natural disasters, and catastrophes that have featured in climate projections since 1990. At IPI MENA, International Peace Institute, and with the like-minded individuals such as Sarah Ghanoum, who's here, you'll listen to her later, we believe that children should also be involved and engaged to bring a generational change in the way we consume and dispose of plastic. This means inciting awareness and change for responsible plastic consumption and disposal by engaging in educational institutions. The aim must not be just to educate, but also to inspire and engage the children in bringing a positive behavioral change. This creates a positive cycle and generation of climate activities dedicated to sustainable development. We need to commit to working alongside our young partners and leaders. And in this regard, I'm delighted to share the floor today with Sarah Ghannoum and this amazing panel of bright-minded children. And I look forward to hearing their thoughts and insights. I would like to conclude by thanking those who are responsible of these schools, the ambassadors, all the participants, friends, and partners, activists from different sectors of our daily life, from different parts of the MENA region. I'm so glad to have you with us, and I will give the floor to Sarah Ghannoum. Sarah, you have the floor, my friend.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm very excited to share my book with you. Dalya, I think you will be helping me with that. And then I'll look forward to hearing your what you have to say. So I will begin. Tom Alien and the Plastic Mess, written by Sarah Ghannoum, illustrated by Dunya Pantic. The year was 3,010,014, and life on Earth was a wonderful scene. The aliens lived so happily here, and their love for Earth grew year after year. Tom Alien, our main character, especially loved to explore this planet he'd grown to respect and adore. He'd go out on quests, he'd roam far and wide, discovering nature's glorious side. Look at that beautiful flower there. But one day, venturing into a new land, he stumbled upon a weird thing in the sand. If you can see it right here, it was awful and ugly and oddly opaque and looked so bizarre and so terribly fake. So he grabbed it and off to Wise Alien he trotted to ask him about this vile thing he just spotted. To give you just a brief background, whenever Tom Alien has a problem, he runs to Wise Alien, and Wise Alien usually knows how to solve it. So let's see. This must be plastic, Wise Alien explained, leaving the planet all tarnished and stained. Humans would use it for all sorts of things like bottles and clothing and glitter and swings. They loved it because it was useful and cheap, but the price that the Earth is paying is steep. Because once it's produced, it is trapped, it appears, and won't go away for so many years. Tom Alien walked off feeling dismayed. Could he clean up this huge mess we had made? When you're dismayed, it means you're worried and you're sad about something that you really weren't expecting. So, back at the site, that same afternoon, Tom Alien noticed a sickly lagoon. Its water looked murky, its frogs sounded hoarse, its fish swam all funny, its moss came out coarse. So he dashed to Wise Alien. He could barely wait to tell him about the lagoon's sickly state. It's surely the plastic, Wise Alien said. From land to the water, it seems to have spread. Plastic is carried across by the rain, or by the rough winds, or when flushed down the drain. Dalya? If you can notice this major chemistry experiment that Wise Alien's making. So he continues, it suffocates sea life and sinks to the floor where beautiful coral had lived once before. But now instead, they've been sadly replaced by ugly and plasticky, poisonous waste. Tom Alien realized that plastic was not easy to get rid of as he had first thought. Feeling quite helpless, he grabbed a quick bite from a pineapple plant that had grown at the site. He made Alien tea, and after his meal, his tummy started to ache a great deal. So he trudged to wise alien. What do you think? Was it because of his food and his drink? Sadly, this plastic, wise alien sighed, has clearly polluted the water supply. And now it has reached the food that we eat, the fruit and the veggies, the grains and the meat. It's terribly sneaky. It just might end up in everyone's plate and everyone's cup. It's really quite sad. I'm sure you'd all agree. Plastic pollutes the planet, you see. Tom Alien wished he could go back in time to put an end to this sad earthly crime. He would have known just what to do by appealing for help from smart children like you. And he would have forged the simple solution to rid the earth of this dreadful pollution. He'd tell you to stare mom and dad in the eye, or any grown-up that you see passing by, and speak of the horror that's done every day and of this plastic that won't go away. Then make them take a solemn vow to change their plasticky ways from now. You can even have them sign a pledge, like this one, to use reusable bags, straws, and spoons, and bottles, and maybe fewer balloons. The options are there, so be sure to choose to always recycle, reduce, and reuse. This earth has been so kind to you. It's time you took great care of it too. Limit the waste and stop the abuse of our darling love earth and reduce plastic use. The end. This is dedicated to my dad and my brother, who really have inspired me so much and opened my eyes to the beauty of earth and everything in nature. And I just wanted to, if I have time to say a very short story. I read this book to two people, and I want all the children especially to notice the difference in reactions. The first person I read it to was to my husband, who's a 46-year-old educated guy. He read it and he said, "Great job, well done." And he went back to doing whatever he was doing. When I read it to my 6-year-old son, who is also in attendance today, he got very angry and very upset at me and at all the grown-ups in the world, because I don't think there are many grown-ups who are not aware of the plastic problem that we are facing. And he couldn't believe that we got ourselves here and weren't really doing a great job of getting ourselves out. He quickly came up with an action plan. He stopped using plastic bottles. He stopped asking for straws at the restaurants. He keeps a tote bag with him because he knows if he goes to a supermarket, it's better than using a plastic bag. So he really did an action plan, and he saw through it that he would follow up with it. The difference in reactions is quite tremendous. What is it about grown-ups that they hear something like this and they just don't act? Is it that they're too busy? Do they not care? Are they lazy? Whatever it is, we clearly cannot rely on them anymore. And we really have to count on this generation, which not only has the energy and the drive, but also the creativity to help us come up with great solutions. And as Najib said it, you are the heroes of tomorrow who we need to help us get out of this massive mess that we have created. So I will leave I think that's enough talking for me. I will leave the floor to questions or thoughts from the students.
Thank you very much, Sarah. It's so touching and encouraging and promising and intellectually and environmentally rewarding. Thank you for the books, because this is, I think, your number 3 book. Number 3.
It is. It's number 3. Yes, my third
Well done.
baby.
We expect more.
Hopefully.
And I agree with all what you said. except losing hope in us, the grown-ups. So
there's
sure,
always hope.
yeah, I'm sure 99% of your audience came over or joined this event because of their not only awareness about environment, but also about their commitment and their countries and their embassies, their countries through their embassies, to work together and make all the steps like this one a success in order to generate more awareness, more advocacy to reach not only the objectives of the multilateral system, but also the hope and aspiration of each and everybody to clean our planet. So thank you again, and I'll leave it to my colleague Dalya to manage the discussion and the interactions. Thank you again, Sarah.
So just a note about logistics. Oh, already a student, you know how to use it. That's great. If you have any questions, either put it in the chat or raise your virtual hand through the reactions button on Zoom. So Sarah, are you okay with the first question from Hashim?
Sarah,
Where is it? Where is the question?
No, as in he raised his hand. So
oh, yes, please go ahead, Hashim.
Hashim, you have the floor.
I'm Hashim from BSB Bahrain. I just wanted to ask if it's possible that you can recycle something like a real marker.
Okay, thanks. That's a very good question. Now, anything plastic that you usually buy, there is a little sign on it that has usually like the recycling sign, and there's a number inside it. Not everything plastic that we buy can be recycled. Actually, some plastic is really toxic, and we should not at all even be throwing it or reusing it at all. So I will give you my website later. I actually have on my website all the numbers that you can recycle, anything you should avoid recycling, things that are safe to reuse. So it all depends on that little mark and the number inside it. So does this answer your question? So depending on the material the marker is made of, can we decide if we can recycle it or not?
Yes.
Thanks for your question.
So there's a question from Leila, whose hand is raised.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, my name is Anna. I am from BS British School of Bahrain. And my question is, how will we send out the message to all parents and grown-ups?
Well, a great way to start is right now, today, when whoever is picking you up, whoever is driving the car to pick you up and take you back home, you can start having a conversation with them. And if you're on a long road trip, you can even play a game. Instead of playing I Spy with My Little Eye, why don't you just try who can come up with a better way of dealing with plastic? For example, oh, I will stop using plastic straws. I will carry reusable cutlery with them. Now they even make really cute pouches where you can keep your fork and spoon and take it with you to a restaurant instead of using plastic utensils there. So you can start the conversation from today. And today's a great time to start it, actually. It's perfect.
Yura?
Hi, I'm Kaira Pandey from BSB Bahrain. I wanted to ask that how can we reduce plastic waste?
That's a great question. We should always be very mindful of what we are about to use at home, let's say, okay? Let's say I want to drink water. I'm thirsty, I want to drink water. Do I go and get a plastic bottle that I open, drink, and throw away in the garbage? No, because if I think about it, when I'm throwing this bottle away in the garbage, I don't know which fish it's going to end up in, whose belly it's going to end up, in which landfill, right? The alternative, something else I can choose to do is actually get a cup and drink and reuse that same cup. So there are little steps we can take in reducing plastic, but there are bigger steps we can take as well. For example, some companies now, they offer the option of refilling your shampoo bottles. Instead of buying a plastic shampoo bottle every single time and throwing it away, there's the option of reusing it. A lot of times with food, for example, if you're going to buy vegetables in a supermarket, you don't really have to use a plastic bag that they supply for free every single time. You can use paper bags, but even better than a paper bag, you can take your own bag with you. So there are many ways of really reducing the use of plastic. We just have to think a little bit before we use something made of plastic. Do I really need to use it? Is there another option that may be better for the environment? Where is this plastic going to end up? So you really want to see how important it is, how needy you are for the use of this plastic.
I see there's a hand up from a classroom from the name E. Lovelace. Yeah.
Hi, can you guys hear us okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Hi, we're so excited to have had you read to us. We absolutely were looking forward to this all week. So thank you so much. And one of my friends, I wish I had time for all of them, but we actually have art in just a moment. So one of my friends is going to share her question, okay? Leah, go ahead. Can you guys take a seat?
Hi, I'm Leah from the American School of Dubai, and my question is, what happens if you just tell a grown-up and they only do it for one day and they start getting lazy and don't do it?
Yes. You know what you have to do? You have to never give up. You keep telling that grown-up. You tell them off and you lecture them, because this is not only good for them, it's good for nature, it's good for the whole planet Earth. So as long as you keep up raising your voice and voicing out your concern, I'm sure with time, they need to create the habit of using less plastic. And with time, they really will stick to it. I can guarantee it. So don't give up. That's the most important thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now from Carla Asfour, there's a class as well with their hand up.
Hi, thank you so much. We're very excited to have the 3 classes. We're watching you here from Lebanon. I have somebody that would like to say something in behalf of the class.
We should start using recyclable plastic bags and recyclable containers, and we should make our parents use recyclable plastic bags.
Yes.
Not plastic, just recyclable materials, exactly.
Yes, and even if you sometimes a grown-up forgets to take a reusable bag with them to the supermarket, if they end up putting their groceries in a plastic bag, we shouldn't just throw away the plastic bag. We can find ways to reuse it again. And for using containers for food, we should always check that the food inside this container, that it's in a container that is safe for food. Some plastic is made of BPA, for example, which is material that can leak into our food. And we really should check. I don't know if something's wrong with the sound. Okay. We really should be checking when we're buying groceries from a supermarket that the container they are using at the supplier is a safe container. So these are things that our parents might not be aware of even. That if I buy any food from a supermarket, that it might be in a bad container. So these are things we have to educate our parents about. It's not just the parents that educate the children. The children can also educate their parents on very important issues.
Great. We have a question from Hanad.
Hello, my name is Hanad and I'm from British School of Bahrain. My question is, how does plastic have toxic in it?
So the material that the plastic is made of, it's very cheap material, right? That's why companies love to use it. They love to use it because it's very easy to make. It's the kind of chemical that makes up the plastic. Some of it is better than others. So it's like a lesser evil. So some of these chemicals, it's in their nature to disintegrate. So they go from being a very big piece to becoming very small pieces, to becoming micro pieces that you don't necessarily see with your eye, but that you can actually swallow into your food. Okay, so these microplastics, they can slowly find their way into your food, and then you end up eating it. So that is how plastic can become. That was the question, right? It can become harmful material.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Hannah, for your question.
Thank you.
We now have a question. I understand that the school children need to leave at 12, so I'll go through the school children first. So, Jude, you have a question?
What kind of materials could we use instead of plastic?
So, well, it depends on the object that the plastic is made of, right? Sometimes you go to buy a toy and you have toys made of plastic, but you also have toys made of wood, for example. So it really depends on the item. Sometimes you can buy water in a plastic bottle. Sometimes you have the option of buying it from a glass bottle. So really there are so many items that come in plastic, but luckily there are a lot of other alternatives. So we always try to find the alternative that fits us best.
Great. Your Excellency, you had a question?
Thank you. Are the children done? First, they should be given the opportunity. Yes. If they are done, then I will take the floor.
Let me say, this is His Excellency, the Ambassador of Pakistan in Bahrain, partner of IPI.
Great.
So I take the floor with your permission.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Firstly, I wish to thank Brother Najib and IPI for this initiative and for inviting me to this very timely webinar ahead of COP26. While just this week, we saw the launch of the Middle East Green Initiative by Saudi Arabia. Our Prime Minister Imran Khan also attended the event along with regional and international leaders. But let me thank Sarah for her very beautiful, inspiring rendering of the book. If I put this issue in Pakistan's context, I find it immensely relevant. Pakistan makes a minimal contribution to global greenhouse gas emissions. Despite this, Pakistan is highly vulnerable to climate change and extreme weather events, including melting glaciers in the Himalayas, which threaten river flows, increased frequency and severity of monsoons and cyclones, land erosion, and saline intrusion. The good part of our story is that Pakistan is the 5th largest young country in the world, with around 63% of youth population. Tackling environmental challenges and making Pakistan green and clean is the topmost priority of the present government. The most effective, cheapest, and quickest way to fight climate change is to plant trees. And the government of Pakistan has started a campaign of planting 10 billion trees by the year 2028. The crucial aspect of this tree plantation drive and other environmental initiatives is the engagement of the next generation, the youth of Pakistan. School boys and girls, scouts, and young community volunteers are the vanguards of this Green Pakistan movement. I just wanted to share this Pakistan's experience to emphasize the crucial role that the youth, the next generation, can play globally in protecting our environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Ambassador, dear friend. Very inspiring statement, in fact, and we count on leaders like you, like in your country, to spread the message, advocate the concerns of everybody, but also come up with solutions and initiatives to clean our planet. Thank you again, and we are really encouraged by your presence. I see that there are many other ambassadors here. I spotted the ambassador of Yemen, the ambassador of India. Sorry if I missed any, and some chargé d'affaires from different embassies here. We are so glad that you are joining us, and here the ambassador of Korea as well. And here we are all, we see eye to eye on the need and the fact that we have leaders today, the leaders of tomorrow, the children, and from both boys and girls who will be leading us in a better future, as the United Nations has always pledged. And thanks to other leaders like Sarah Ghannoum and other authors, hoping that the children will get into discussions with their teachers and principals on how to organize events within their schools, their homes, their playgrounds around this major event that will be taking place in Scotland next week about the climate change. Climate change is a big threat, my friends, but in front of, compared to your will, to your capacity of changing the world and every situation, we don't feel impressed by this threat. We will overcome it. Thank you. Dalya, any other questions or remarks?
Yeah. Leila has a question.
Hello, I'm Lila of British School of Bahrain, and I am an eco warrior in school, so I will forward this to my teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Laila. Thank you. It's because of people like you that we always have hope, as Najib said, but we have even bigger hope because of eco warriors like you. So keep it up. I think someone in Miss Carla's class had a question. Okay, Dalya, I don't know if you see anyone else with a question.
Sorry, we forgot to put the hand down. They had this, yeah.
Okay, I see His Excellency the German Ambassador has his hand raised.
Yes, thank you very much. I have to say how impressed I am by your book, but also by the very good questions which all the students put to us adults. And I come from a country where actually we as adults have been forced very much to listen to the voice of young people. So I'm not asking you to follow the example of the children in Germany, because some of them actually said the situation is so bad that on Friday, which is a regular school day, we will not go to school, but we will stand up and ask our parents and all the adult and responsible people to do something for the climate. But this has shown that in Germany, very, very young people, students like you, now sit when we look in the television at the same level with politicians, with adult people. They put them the same questions which you are putting, and the adults are forced to answer. We just had elections in Germany, and it is about who is going to be the next chancellor, so to govern Germany. And one of the TV shows which was most followed was when children aged 8 and 10 years were putting questions to the candidates, because your generation matters, and it is your future that we are called upon to make a better place. Thank you all very much for your questions, most of all.
Thank you, Ambassador K. Bookman, Ambassador of Germany, and your country and yourself have been an inspiration to us in making this, or working on making this world a better one for future generations. Good luck with the children choices to choose, children and others to choose a new chancellor. The current chancellor, as a woman, has impressed more than a nation, and many nations envy you from having a woman leading this great power that has built not only Germany but Europe and participated in the human causes and initiatives in the world. I'd like, Sarah, I think I would like to give the floor, if you don't mind, Sarah, to Mr. Maguire from the British School, as we'd like to thank those who are behind mobilizing their school children, but also we'd like to see or hear and know their insight about this initiative, and especially what will be done. I'm sure they are engaged in very educative and interesting initiatives regarding environment and making their children as world citizens, but I'd like to hear from them what they have in mind. Mr. Maguire, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Your Excellencies. And thank you very much, Ms. Sarah, for a wonderful reading of a book. It's lovely to hear the students' questions as well. A lot of them made me smile, which is always the beauty. I think it's a very timely opportunity for us to take this forward. As you can see, students like Lila Swick are our eco warriors, and there is a strong movement within our youth, which is a flame, a spark that we are fanning rapidly to drive forward, not just making the school environmentally friendly, but to change culture, and as Ms. Sarah quite aptly put it, to change our adults in their ways as well. And I think that's important. And our eco warriors lead the way. Actually, it coincides because we do a very popular beach clean around Bahrain every Friday morning, and it's always during the cooler weather. So thankfully, it actually relaunches again this year, and it launched last year, and we used to have 90 different families turn up and clean beaches, and as you say, reuse, recycle. And this year, as it relaunches, we have had a company contact us and say, if we keep hold of the plastic waste, they will transform it into furniture, which can be used at school. So a great initiative, and it's lovely to see these things grow, because suddenly not just collecting the waste and protecting the coastal habitat, but actually then reusing it into something beneficial, and hopefully have it as a reminder to all of the visitors to the British School of Bahrain about the importance of this. And I would probably expand this to actually talking not just about plastic waste, but also about food waste and various other consumptions. And that's certainly our big drive at the moment, is clean plate challenges, reducing food waste, and even so that the school has purchased its own large composter, which will turn food waste into compost, which will then grow, be a compost which will be used to be grown by our eco warriors in our eco garden to produce our own food, and actually bringing local. And I think that's certainly our initiative at the moment. It's actually to everyone to do our bit to reuse, recycle, and renew. I think is a perfect term. So, and today was a timely and very good launch of that, and I thank everyone for this initiative indeed.
Thank you very much, my friend. With such initiatives, they look small, but they are considerable in terms of helping clean up the mess that Sarah has opened our eyes about. Our eyes are open, but she opened them wider. Thank you so much, and we are grateful to your efforts, your school efforts, and we see, as you mentioned, how small actions like that generated awareness among the private sector and companies, as you mentioned. Imagine if all of us join in such activities in Bahrain and in our countries, the impact that we would see. The snowball effect is there, and hopefully, by the way you are talking, and your country is hosting in Glasgow the gathering of all heads of states, and a very, very challenging summit, as all of you know. We have suffered some setbacks during the last few years, disagreements between leaders on material interests, materialistic interests. But if we take part in this massive effort around the world to clean up our planet, the leaders will have but to follow us. And you'll be the leaders, children of tomorrow. Children of tomorrow. Yes.
One point, I think the Philippine Embassy put in the chat asking you, Sarah, where they can get copies of the book.
The book is sold in Lebanon and the Emirates. I'm trying to work on the online. I'm still very technologically not advanced. So we're trying baby steps. So for now, if you're in the Emirates or in Lebanon, you can easily find it at the bookstores. But soon it'll flutter all over the world.
I think next time we should invite all some of the publishers, and I think the next book fair we'll try to get Sarah invited, as the book fair is held by the Bahrain Authority of Culture and Antiquities, headed by our friend Sheikh Hamay Al Khalifa, and I'm sure she will welcome such initiative to invite Sarah and her book. We are not talking on her behalf, but we will make a point to put that request to her, and I'm sure she will acquiesce. In the meantime, we have to maybe get some ways of shipping some books to those who wish. Do you have any address, Sarah? Maybe, I think you mentioned that you have, as a publisher,
yeah. So
has many outlets.
No, I self-publish. So I work with distributors.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So far I'm self-publishing because I'm working in the region and I live here, so it's easier. I'm between Lebanon and the Emirates. But I mean, your plan sounds great. I would love to. That would be amazing. I would love to come to Bahrain someday, and yeah, I rely on minds like you to give me ideas on how to spread my word and my books. So.
And also, I remember, Dalya, we had with the Bayan School, Sheikh Hamay Al Utaybi, she organized a book fair, and she devoted part of it to a young writer who was featured at IPI. That's Adam and his famous books, and I think we could also look into that.
But thank you so much for organizing this. This is really amazing. Thanks everyone for attending and showing so much support for such an important cause. So thank you again.
Yes, Dalya?
Mr. Munir Bushnaki has his hand raised.
Let me introduce my friend and brother Munir Bushnaki, former Assistant Director General of UNESCO, a pioneer in preserving world heritage and promoting culture, education, and science within his mother organization, UNESCO, and he is also the advisor to BACA, Bahrain authorities, for Authority for Culture and Antiquities, and he's behind the launch of the Arab Regional Center for World Heritage. Munir, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear friend Najib. And I would like to say how much I appreciate this initiative. Personally, but also on behalf of Sheikh May, who is not present at the moment. She is on mission. But as you said, inviting such a bright author, Mrs. Sarah, congratulations for the book. And inviting also the schools. This is very important. You know, I worked for 25 years at UNESCO, which is the international body, international institution where education is the pillar of all the transformation that we need to have in the world. You addressed a very important topic, which is the impact, the negative impact of the plastic in a very nice way, very attractive for the children, but also, as you said, the children will speak to their parents and the parents will act. I want to remember Her Excellency is present that a few years ago at the Arab Regional Center for World Heritage, because we're working on world cultural and natural heritage. So we have also to preserve the natural heritage, the biodiversity, our environment. And we organized a meeting where we tackled, in collaboration with the Council of Environment of Bahrain, the question of plastic. And we invited the leaders of the big sale companies like Carrefour, Auchan, and there were a decision at that time, a recommendation at that time taken by this big enterprise to not continue to use so much plastic to to sell the products. And we showed that some countries already, in Germany, in France, you cannot have any more plastic in these big shops. And this will reduce in a big way this use of plastic that you have developed so well, the negative impacts. And I think that the next COP26 is going to address a number of very important issues, but you have seen many televisions, many documentaries are speaking about the fact that what we are eating now is sometimes coming from the fish or from the animals that are absorbing very, very small parts of the plastic. And you explained it very well for the children here, that these parts, we cannot even see them with our eyes. And it is also killing the fish. You can see documentaries presented in many parts of the world where even whales are absorbing plastic, and this will completely stop them breathing. So thank you very much for this awareness. This is very important. Thanks to the excellencies present here, because each country is playing a very important role, reforesting the land, like in Pakistan, giving incentives for the schools. And thank you, director of the school, British school, for cleaning the beaches. I think these are actions that, if they are coordinated and put together, I think we will arrive to a situation where we will have a more clean and more agreeable planet to live. Thank you so much.
Dear Munir, thank you so much. Do I see other questions? I would like to thank you, Munir, and UNESCO for preserving. I see Natalie. She wants to talk. Yeah, let Natalie talk first.
Okay, shukran, Ustad Najib. This is not Mrs. Natalie, this is Mrs. Sana, the Arabic curriculum leader in the British School of Bahrain. We need to thank you so much for this opportunity and to give us chance to participate in the great meeting like this and the great webinar. And hopefully it will not be the first time we have a more occasion like this. And I have my kids, a group of my students, they will tell you something at the end of this webinar. Shukran jazilan. Thank you so much again for all the great effort done.
Shukran. In fact, shukr lakum. Yalla, let's listen to this young lady.
Thank you. This was a great opportunity, and we hope it gets spread around soon.
Yes, yes,
guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity to participate in the question answer session.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for giving us this time to answer lots of questions about the world.
Thank you.
شكرا أستاذ نجيب. شكرا لجهودكم جميعا. Thank you so much.
In fact, we thank you because without you, we wouldn't have done this, in fact. And we have to thank Sarah, who through her initiative has made it an appealing event, and to everybody, in fact, that has taken part into this great event. I'd like to return back to our friend Munir Bushnaki, who's with UNESCO working on preserving our world heritage. As you know, those who visited sites, ancient sites, it's difficult to keep those sites in the open air clean from plastic. They're so beautiful, and one plastic bag make that visual so sad. I myself don't look at the plastic bag, I look at the beauty of those ancient sites, but at the same time, I feel sorry that somebody passes by and throws a plastic bag or a cap or whatever in that part. So thank you, UNESCO. Thank you, Munir Bushnaki, for preserving our heritage, our history, and our memory. Any statement, any comments? Yes.
Yasmin Dries has her hand raised.
Yasmin Dries from Tunisia, I would say an exceptional activist.
Thanks a lot.
Impressed. Anyway, Yasmin, you have the floor.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Najib. Thanks a lot. I would like first to thank you for the initiative, IPI MENA, especially you, Mr. Najib, Ms. Dalya, Ms. Elisa, and all the staff. Also, thank you, Ms. Sarah, for your orientation to an age group that writers and publishers may forget usually. And it's the most, let me say, the most important age group, as it's at this age that awareness is formed and the principles by which the future generation will live for the rest of their lives are instilled. This generation that bears the responsibility of our negligence towards the earth and environment. The children of today will unfortunately bear the full responsibility, and they should strive for a solution, not continue on a very bad path. It's no longer possible to ignore the important and the most important environmental problems and issues because it's the environment in which we live disappears, all life will disappear, of course. So spreading this awareness among them is very important. Unfortunately, today's youth do not care much about environment. So they don't care about ecological movements and do not follow ecological or environmentally friendly lifestyles. The culture, sadly, the culture of consumerism is so deep inside them. The media and capitalism are driving them crazy without any interest in nature and in environment. So we should save this planet. Honestly, we should save this planet. So I really appreciate this initiative. So thank you a lot.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. I like to, here I see, I nearly forgot that one of our major partners, the Supreme Council of Women, has joining us, and through Ala Al-Khunaizi. Thank you so much. This is the Supreme Council of Women in Bahrain. Very, very
Thank
important.
you so much for having us, for inviting us. This is a wonderful event, and we look forward to more and more mutual events to further this cause and to work together to have a better future and better environment for all of us.
I also forgot to mention the representative of the Turkish embassy and many other embassies. I really apologize for not mentioning all of you, but your presence is encouraging, is inciting, and again, we will see you in future initiatives. And I will not promise Sarah that this is the last one, and we will encourage her to additional editions on environment and other matters of concern, and we leave that to her inspiration. We do not dictate on her what to do. If you have no other questions, I will leave the last words to Sarah for any comments, and you have the floor, Sarah.
I just want to thank everyone again for the support of the children first and foremost, and for initiatives like this. As an author, also, of course, the support that I get in the work that I do, especially from the IPI. So thank you, everyone, and good luck to us all. Good luck to this planet, and hopefully with children as bright as our generations that we're bringing up. Hopefully we are in safe hands. So thanks again.
Thank you again. We will our great expectations on the Glasgow COP26 summit. Let the leaders heed the call of the people and let them get back to their countries with clear programs and initiatives and strategies to save our planet from the scourge of climate change. We wish them all the best. I wish you all the best as well, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Dalya, you close the meeting. A few words as well, please.
Thank you all so much for attending today. It's really encouraging to see you all involved in such an important initiative. And I really hope that we can move forward from this. This is not just a one-time webinar, but that we can take this into action and develop it either into a series or something where we can educate more and involve the youth more. So thank you so much, Sarah, for the initiative. And thank you for the illustrations of the book as well. I see the GDN commented they loved the message and the illustrations, so thank you for that. And I wish you all a pleasant and lovely day and week ahead, and thank you all again.